So I was just about to make a video about the Sixers signing Dwight, and then the news came out about the Lakers, and I'm still planning to make a video on Philly just because I'd want to talk about some of the moves they've been making. But in that video, I was gonna say that I was surprised the Lakers weren't able to bring back Dwight. I mean, he had a really great resurgence with them last year, and I thought he was for sure gonna come back. It seemed like he wanted to come back, but like always, these NBA teams know things that we don't, and I guess the Lakers must have been in talks with Harrell for a little while now. And as much as I do love Dwight, at this point in their careers, I'd much rather have Montrezl. And I was really surprised by this move. Not only were the Lakers one of the last teams I would have expected Montrezl to sign with, but they got him for just 2 years and something like $19 million. So he's going to be making less than $10 million a year for them on average. And this is a guy who just won 6th Man of the Year last year. So they've got him on a huge discount. And there were a lot of rumors last year that some of the Clippers players weren't too happy with the favoritism shown towards Kawhi and PG. And look, I don't have any actual evidence to back this claim up, but I feel like Montrezl might have been one of those guys that really just wasn't too thrilled with them. Like Montrezl, he was a 2nd-round pick, and he's a perfect example of someone who just to really achieve their success by grinding, like through their hard work. So I don't think he would have appreciated those guys coming in and being shown this special treatment through load management and stuff like that, right? And then after the Clippers got eliminated by the Nuggets last year, there was a report coming out that Paul George gave a speech to the team, really imploring all of their free agents to re-sign with them so they could run it back, I guess, this upcoming year. But that speech was apparently met with quite a few eye rolls, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because Kawhi and PG, they only have one more year left on their deals, and if next season doesn't go well, those guys definitely would have at least entertained the thought of leaving, right? And I'm sure guys like Montrezl, they were aware of that possibility. So, I mean, with that in mind, I'm not really surprised he left. Last year, Montrezl, he averaged about 18 and 7 in just under 28 minutes a game, and like I said, ended up winning 6th Man of the Year, and he also won the Hustle Award. So take that for what you will. And just some initial thoughts. I think he's going to be a great fit with this Lakers team. He's great in the pick and roll. He rolls really hard to the rim, and LeBron's definitely going to be able to find him for a lot of easy buckets that way, right? He's also got a really high motor, so if he runs the floor well, LeBron's going to be able to reward him there too, right? Offensively, he's going to give them something that the Lakers didn't have last year, a center that can get them unassisted buckets. As great as JaVale and Dwight were, they weren't really guys that you could just throw the ball down to in the post and just say, hey, go get me a bucket, right? And he's going to be like their 3rd or 4th scoring option this upcoming year, depending on what you think about Schroeder. But yeah, Montrezl, he's a guy you can throw the ball down to occasionally. He's got a pretty decent handle for a big guy, and when you combine that with the explosiveness and athleticism he has, he can be a pretty good face-up scorer in the post. And again, he's going to be like their 3rd or 4th scoring option, but still, Dwight or JaVale, they're not nearly as talented as he is offensively, so that's definitely going to be an upgrade there. And then defensively, I think he's also an upgrade for them there too, right? Like I said, he's got a really incredible motor, and half the battle on defense is about how much effort you give on that end of the floor. But the other parts of defense have to do with your physical tools and your IQ on that end. Montrezl, he's not nearly as good a rim protector as JaVale or Dwight, but he is a better pick and roll defender. And in today's NBA, pick and roll defense is more important than rim protection. And plus, the Lakers aren't exactly lacking rim protection. They got Anthony. I mean, he's not re-signed with them, but I feel like everyone knows that Anthony Davis is going to re-sign with them. And he was a great rim protector for them last year. And then they still got JaVale under contract for this upcoming season too. So that's obviously going to help. And I think that Montrezl and Anthony Davis, they're going to fit really well alongside each other on defense just because they're going to be really hard to run pick and rolls against, right? Just because when those two are in the game, there's not really going to be a big that you can look to take advantage of in the pick and roll. So that's going to be a great thing to have for the Lakers. The only thing I worry about with Montrezl is that he has a bad habit of fouling too much at times. Throughout his career, he's averaged 4 fouls per 36, and last year he got that down to 3 fouls per 36, but there's still times where he can get in foul trouble. We saw that in the playoffs, especially in that Nuggets series, so hopefully he can control that a little bit, because if he can stay on the floor, he's definitely going to be great for the Lakers, and he's going to give them a lot of things. I feel like he could get the opportunity to start for the Lakers next year. Anthony Davis definitely prefers to play the 4, and I know Harrell doesn't have much of an outside shot, but we saw the Lakers were still really successful last year running AD at the 4 and playing either JaVale or Dwight at the center, so I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue with them playing alongside each other on offense. JaVale is, as I mentioned, he's still under contract with the Lakers for this season, so we'll have to see what lineup Vogel thinks works best. To be honest, bringing in Montrezl off the bench wouldn't be a bad idea either. Overall, the Lakers bench unit wasn't very consistent offensively last year, so Montrezl would help in that department. He'd just give them that scoring punch off the bench. And depending on whether or not they decide to start Schroeder, I guess we'll have to see what other moves they make in free agency. If they're bringing Schroeder off the bench too, the Lakers could have a potential bench unit of something like Schroeder, Caruso, Kuzma, and Montrezl. So that would be a lot better than what they had last year. It's going to be really interesting, man. I forgot to mention that the Lakers also signed Wes Matthews. He'll be a nice 3-and-D player for them. He'll be a good Danny Green replacement, honestly. I think those guys are pretty much exactly the same at this point in their career. I'm not sure how much money they have left to sign free agents, but hopefully they can find a way to bring back Avery Bradley, because that would be huge for them. I know he didn't play in the bubble last year, but during the regular season, he was a solid 3-and-D player for them. If they can bring him back, we're looking at a potential starting lineup of Bradley, Matthews, LeBron, AD, and to be honest, I'm actually leaning more towards the idea of starting JaVale at the 5. Then off the bench, you got Schroeder, Caruso, Kuzma, and Harrell. And looking at this roster, they've definitely improved over last year, and I think they're going to have a great chance at going back-to-back.